Jason Statham is a literal beekeeper and apiarist, but his character is also found to be a former operative for a secret society known as the Beekeepers. Double meaning. Let's talk about the Beekeeper. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new movie, The Beekeeper. This is in theaters right now and features Jason Statham front and center as Adam Clay, who is enjoying his life in retirement from this secret, mysterious organization known as the Beekeepers, and he has taken on that actual title for himself. He is now an apiarist and enjoying his life, but decides to take on some revenge when, to his quote, the only person that ever loved him, who is played by Felicia Rashad. She's someone who basically takes him in, rents out her back area of her acreage, and she is scammed by these jerks who, are scamming old people for their bank information and all of this. And so he goes on a rampage to get revenge for her, regardless of who gets in his way, including police, the FBI, doesn't matter. He's going to take them down. All right, so before we get into my review of this movie, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We got movie and TV reviews up on the channel. Just about every day I try to post something new, so always a lot to check out here, and some handy playlists on the homepage as well. If you get a little bit lost in all of the new stuff I'm posting, there's movie review playlist, TV review playlist, and then some of my more specialty things as well. So please consider subscribing. Click that like button down below. Comment down below. What did you think of The Beekeeper? If you did see it. All that, of course, helps the channel out. So, all right, let's get into this movie. Look, I'm not the biggest Jason Statham fan. I recently did a review for The Meg 2, which was not a great movie. I'm not sure if it will be on my worst of 2023 list, but it's definitely sort of swimming down there on that edge. But look, the guy has his lane, and he does very well in it. And the last 15, 20 years, that has been these big action movies with big explosions and him just kicking everybody's butt all the time. And that includes some of the Fast and Furious movies and the Transporter and all of that kind of stuff. But he certainly has a lot of different sides to him. He was hilarious in the movie Spy with Melissa McCarthy. So I don't hate Jason Statham. I just think a lot of his movies are very similar. This one is pretty similar. However, it does play to Statham's strengths. Logic is really quite heavily thrown out the window here, in terms of, him just going crazy and, on all of these people who have, wronged this one person. Now, in the process, of course, they've wronged, dozens, perhaps hundreds of other elderly people, and he wants to put a stop to the whole organization. But the movie ends up just being so ridiculous that it's quite hard to take any sort of, seriousness from it. So you have to really, really check your brain at the door for this one. And if you do, I think you will enjoy yourself. I enjoyed watching it, but around every corner I was like, oh my God, like that's ridiculous. Even just something as basic as the way that the scam center works at the beginning of the movie, it doesn't really make any sense. So from the start, I was like, okay, this is going to be a movie with huge just leaps of logic. I got to either go with this or not, and I decided to go with it. And the stuff, like, he just is murdering FBI agents, and just, the lead, gal in charge of the investigation, played by Emily Raver Lampman, it's her mother that actually was scammed, and the whole, reason for Statham, doing what he's going to do. And so she's got some kind of personal attachment to it. So it's sort of like this little, okay, like maybe I'll let this guy go crazy because, he's really doing it for my mom and for all these other horrible, scams that went down. But she keeps saying, like, well, I still have a job to do, and I don't care, if he's helping my mother, or if it's because of her or whatever. Like, her character didn't quite make sense to me at all. You also have Josh Hutcherson here as the villain. He like is one of the people who sort of runs these scam stations and eventually gets tracked down. You have Jeremy Irons as well as somebody on Hutcherson's payroll. And there is a mildly interesting twist towards the end of the movie that I admit I wasn't surprised by, but I also didn't really see coming. So, all right, I'll give it a little point for that. This was directed by David Ayer, who is kind of inconsistent, but mostly terrible. End of Watch was a great movie. He directed that, but he also directed his very next movie, I think, that he directed was this horrible Arnold Schwarzenegger movie called Sabotage that I gave an F to. He also directed the first Suicide Squad movie, which I defend, but it's still not a great movie. It's just not like the worst movie ever, as a lot of people were thinking. I think I gave it a B- or something, and maybe that's high, but whatever. I found that movie okay. And then he helped write the first Fast and the Furious movie, and so he's definitely got his foot kind of in these more action oriented movies, and he knows what to do with Statham. He knows what people want to see, which is one of the problems of the Meg 2 is that it became this like side story, and there was very little of the Meg or Jason Statham fighting the Meg in it, which didn't make any sense to me. Here, at least, we see him doing what he does best. He's, kicking butt, taking names later, whatever. A lot of people on fire in this movie. He's got a penchant for burning people alive. Love that in a Jason Statham movie, right? So, look, if you're coming for some crazy action that maybe the plot barely makes sense, they never really explore this secret society of the Beekeeper organization at all. It just kind of exists. However, they have certainly left the door open for a sequel. As I think about halfway through the movie, I was like, oh well, they're just letting him kind of go nuts on these people. So I think at the end of this movie, we're going to have the thread of Beekeeper 2, and that's exactly what happens. This ends with what I think you would expect from a movie like this. They're going to try and make a whole franchise out of it. Sure, maybe in the second one we will explore what the Beekeepers do and who they are and everything. Here, it's just the very, very basic information about them. Another item of note, this was produced by Miramax. The first thing on the screen, even before the MGM logo, was Miramax, which, of course, was Harvey Weinstein's brainchild back in the 90s, him and his brother. And I really thought that Miramax did not exist anymore. But apparently, so I looked into it. I have not seen that title in front of a movie in years. But apparently Paramount Pictures owns the name Miramax now, although this was an MGM movie, so I don't know. But there's been so many mergers in the last, so many years, who knows. But I thought that was odd, just a little item of note there. But look, every January we get a bad horror movie, which we had last week with Night Swim. And we also usually get a dumb action movie. Last year it was Plane with Gerard Butler. But again, like Plane, this movie kind of does what it sets out to do. It's not a great movie, but certainly enjoyable in the right frame of mind. I leave The Beekeeper with a C+. All right, that will do it for Dan Reviews It. Thank you for watching. You can check that out in theaters now if you so desire. We'll see you next time. Bye.